Hi, I'm Katie Turner, the Recruitment, Marketing, and Communications Manager here at TCSJ.
I'm Michelle Badavinac. I'm the Director of the Impact Program here at Teachers College. Glad you're joining us.
Okay, so Michelle and I are going to give an overview of the Impact Intern Preliminary Teaching Credential Program. So Michelle, can you go ahead and take this first slide for me?
I would love to. So thanks for joining us. If you're watching this video, you probably want to know more about the intern program. So let me start by explaining that an intern program is an alternative way to get your teaching credentials. So one of the unique things about an intern program is you actually get hired and are teaching as the teacher in a classroom with students during the day. And then in the evening, you're coming to school and getting your credential. It's all called an alternative program because in more traditional programs, you're with a master or mentor teacher throughout the day, and there's a gradual release. In the intern program, you are the teacher from day one. So you really have to think about if you're ready for that. The great thing about our program is we are a 2-year program. We meet twice a week for the most part. I'll talk about a few exceptions to that rule as we move along through this presentation, but in the evenings, so you teach during the day, come to class in the evenings, twice a week. We have a lot of support built in for you, so you're not just left alone in your classroom to flail. We're providing support through our teachers who are working with you, and all of our teachers are practitioners who currently teach themselves, and so they are providing you all of the skills you need. You have program staff and coordinators who are available to help guide you in your academic journey. And then we have supervisors that will come out and visit you in your classroom, provide you coaching. You'll have a mentor on your campus and lots of support surrounding you through colleagues and other professionals that we help you engage with. One of the great things about our program, and I'm a little biased maybe, but is that we are very practical. There is a definite close integration between what you're doing in your classroom on a day-to-day basis and what you're learning in the evening. So while we create all of our courses based on the most current research and theory, really what you're learning is how to make that theory practical. So learn something you can take back to your classroom the next day. One of the great things is that we have a beautiful building here in Stockton, our main TCSJ campus. All of our programs are offered here, but we also partner with Ceres Unified School District, and we take over their Central Valley High School campus, and they allow us to run programs there as well. So if you live farther south, then that might be an option that you want to look into. The only program that we don't offer in Ceres is our early childhood special education program, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but you can take some classes there even if you want to pursue an early childhood special ed credential. If you decide after you earn your credential, or even while you're earning your credential, that you want to start pursuing a master's degree, we also at TCSJ offer a whole department of graduate studies, and we have master's degree programs in education, and some of your impact intern coursework will transition and transfer over and be applicable to a master's degree. So let's talk a little bit about what credentials you can pursue here at TCSJ as an intern. We have kind of the whole gamut. So you can be a multiple subject teacher. Multiple subject is for folks that are going to be teaching typically in a kindergarten through 8th grade setting. Again, I say typically, and by multiple subject, it means you're teaching one group of students typically throughout the entire day, and you're teaching all of the subjects, hence the name multiple subject. Single subject credentials are for folks that are typically going to teach in middle schools and high schools, and you're only teaching one subject a day. You've got a very specialized area. So for example, I was a high school Spanish teacher. I taught Spanish all day long. So I was a single subject Spanish teacher. And then we have 3 different specialty areas for special education, working with our students with special needs. We have one called mild to moderate support needs, another for students with more extensive support needs, and then an early childhood special education. Our mild to moderate and extensive support needs can teach anything from kindergarten to age 22. So that's as our special needs students transition into adulthood. And our early childhood special education goes from birth to kindergarten.
Thanks, Michelle. All right, so I'm going to take over the eligibility requirements. So what do you need? What are the requirements to apply for the Impact Intern Preliminary Teaching Credential Program? So this is an overview of all of the eligibility requirements, and Michelle and I will break these into greater detail in the coming slides. All right, so what's needed? The bachelor's degree, U.S. Constitution requirement, basic skills requirement, pre-service preparation, subject matter competence. Number 6, get hired as a teacher by an impact program partner agency. And last but not least, number 7. So you must complete all 6 requirements by one of our fall, early or late start deadline dates. Okay, so the bachelor's degree. So the bachelor's degree or higher needs to be from a regionally accredited college or institution. Now, if you received your bachelor's degree or higher degree from outside of the United States, we would need to see that you have received an evaluation by a California Commission on Teacher Credentialing approved agency. And upon evaluation, we would need to see that you have an equivalent to a bachelor's degree or higher here in the United States. All right, so number 2 is the U.S. Constitution requirement. So up on the screen, you'll see the different options for how you can meet this requirement. First one is if you have your bachelor's degree from a California State University campus. Us seeing that you have your bachelor's degree from a California State University college like Sac State, Stanislaus State, etc., we know that you have satisfied this requirement. Another option is by taking a college level course and receiving a grade of C or better, or receiving that for credit. But the course would need to cover the provisions and principles of the U.S. Constitution. So if you want our admissions team to take a look at your course or courses to see if you meet this requirement through a course, you'll see up on the screen our admissions email. Email them a copy of your unofficial transcripts as well as a course description or course descriptions for the course or courses that you want them to evaluate to see if you meet the requirement through a course. Last but not least, if you have not completed this requirement, one of those previous ways, you can take an online exam. You'll see up on the screen the website for where you can take that exam, and that would satisfy the requirement. All right, so let's jump into number 3, which is the basic skills requirement. So the basic skills requirement, BSR, covers proficiency in reading, writing, and mathematics. As you can see, there are several options for meeting this requirement. Michelle and my colleague here at Teachers College Dell actually created a short info video that does a deep dive of this requirement. So I would highly recommend you watch that. But you'll see up on the screen, there are several options for meeting this requirement. Number 7, if you want Teachers College to evaluate your college coursework to see if you have met this requirement through coursework, within the pre-service program application, which we'll get to that next, you can indicate that you want us to evaluate your coursework for basic skills requirement. It is an additional $135, but we can see if coursework that you've taken does meet the requirement. All right. Number 4 is that pre-service preparation program that I mentioned. So definitely take a look at the info video that Shelly and I created for this specific program. But the pre-service preparation program is a 9-unit in-person program. Also consists of 6 hours of in-person observations with a fully credentialed teacher. But it is a prerequisite program to applying for the Impact Intern Program. You'll see there, if you already have a valid California preliminary or clear teaching credential, additionally an intern credential, then you would not need to do the pre-service preparation program. Okay, number 5. We like info videos here. I like info videos, but definitely check out the info video that Dell also created for this requirement. And she goes a lot more into depth in these 4 options for how you can satisfy this requirement. But number 5, subject matter competence is credential specific, meaning that if you are wanting to pursue the multiple subject credential, you need to have subject matter in multiple subjects, right? As Michelle mentioned, the multiple subject credential, you're teaching all subjects. So you need to have competence in all subjects. If you're wanting to pursue the single subject credential, you need to have competence in that specific subject. If you're earning the mild to moderate or extensive support needs credential, you actually have several options for completing subject matter competence. You can complete it by doing subject matter in multiple subjects or any of the single subjects. And as of today, things tend to change at the state level, but as of today, July 13th, 2023, subject matter is not required if you're pursuing the early childhood special education teaching credential. All right, so Michelle, can you take this slide?
Sure. So the great thing about an intern program, like I mentioned before, is that you are the teacher of record and you're teaching all day long. But we do have a few kind of parameters for what kind of employment really works so that you are able to demonstrate all of the competencies that you need to demonstrate throughout your program. So one thing is you can't be an intern if you're working as a substitute teacher or under a PIP or a STIP, which are 2 kinds of emergency credentials that are often provided. You have to be hired to teach in the same area as the credential you're teaching. So for example, or the credential you're seeking. For example, you can't get a multiple subject credential and then be teaching geography at the high school level. That wouldn't match. The position has to be at least half-time. So it's okay if you are a part-time teacher, but it has to be a minimum of half-time. And at this point, we don't allow anyone to teach in schools or programs that are primarily online. Now, we all know that our pandemic kind of turned our world upside down. And if something like that were to happen again, and we would return to online learning due to external forces, we would make that work. But if it's an online school, that's not eligible right now for the program. It really needs to be in a more traditional setting. So although we know there are lots of opportunities to work as tutors and lots of opportunities to do kind of independent study or homeschool settings, none of those really work. We really need to see you in a classroom with a group of students on a daily basis, covering all of the curricular needs and social emotional needs of the students. And the last thing is, because we do have supervisors that we send out to come visit you on your campus, we do have a geographic service area. We try to cover all of Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, Stanislaus, San Joaquin counties and Merced County as well. But each district or agency that we work with is required to have an agreement with us because it's a partnership. And so it has to be one of the schools that we are already partners with or that we are willing to partner with. So I know that this is probably too small really for you to fully get a sense, but we partner with a huge number of schools. We have both traditional districts, we have county offices, we have some charter schools, and we have some non-public schools for our special education candidates. But as I mentioned already, we cover a pretty wide geographic area. This list is available on our website, and we always recommend before you accept a position, you double check to make sure that the district or agency that you're accepting a position with is on our list. If they aren't, you can reach out to us and we can tell you whether or not we may or may not be able to partner with them. One of the great things is once you're an intern, what you will be able to do once you're in pre-service is get what's called a eligibility letter. It can either be a program status stating that you're in our program and working to be an intern, or that you're intern eligible. And when you apply for jobs, you upload that to your job application so that the employers understand that you are in a program, you're linked to a teacher preparation program. So that makes you eligible for hire. We always recommend that you go out and attend lots of job fairs and apply on EdJoin. One of the things that we do not do as a program is we do not place students or teachers in districts. It's really the candidate's responsibility to seek out employment and secure the employment, and then we partner with the employer after that. All right, so now maybe you're ready to apply, you've completed all the requirements, you've got a job and ready to submit your application. I think Katie may have mentioned earlier that we have what's called an early start and a late start. So we only enroll students in the fall of every year, fall start only, but two kinds of fall starts. Early start, which has an application we're anticipating for July 10th of 2024. It's a little far out for us to have the exact date, but that should be pretty darn close. And then you would start class on July 24th. Early start programs, as mentioned before, you're going 2 nights a week. Then we have what we call our late start. So maybe you don't get hired by July 10th, you get hired a little bit later. For our special education candidates, we also have an August 25th deadline for a late start. With that group, it's really important to note that the late start cohorts for special ed during the first semester, instead of going 2 nights a week, they'll be going 3 nights a week until the second semester, and then they'll work just 2 nights a week after that, and they'll start classes in September. And then finally, a little bit later, we have a late start for our multiple subject and single subject folks. They still go 2 nights a week. So one of the great things that I personally love about our program is that it's a 2-year program, as I mentioned earlier, but it's a cohort model. So when you enter the college, you will be with a group of students who are either credential alike or might be in a different credential, and you're a blended cohort, meaning that your coursework is already pre-planned for you for the 2 years. You don't pick and choose which courses, it's pre-laid out, and you will travel from course to course with that same cohort of students. It's a great model because you really develop lifelong relationships and lots of support from your colleagues. Again, classes will probably be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 8 p.m. We offer all the classes in Stockton as well as series. Couple little caveats I want to point out. I mentioned earlier that if you are a early childhood special education candidate, the program is only offered in the Stockton campus. But we do have some classes where the early childhood cohort is taking classes with the extensive support needs cohort. So some classes will be available in series, and the early childhood specific classes will be held in Stockton. So that's an option. Also important to mention, for single subject, if you start on the series campus, all of your second semester, and only the second semester, classes are held in Stockton. That's where we get really content specific. And so those classes are up in Stockton. I mentioned earlier that there's lots of support for you as a new intern, a new teacher. And one of those things is a support supervisor. So our support supervisor is someone from the university. They're veteran practitioners who are going to come out, visit you in your class 6 to 8 times per semester, check out what you're doing, provide you feedback, help you grow continuously as a new educator. They kind of have a 2-pronged approach. On one side, the term support is critical here. They are there to provide you support coaching, mentoring. On the other hand, they're also there to evaluate you. As a professional educator, we are held to high standards, and there are certain competencies you have to demonstrate. And so their job is also to evaluate you, but they're there to support, guide, and evaluate. So it's a very nice relationship.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, I'll take it from here, give you a break. Okay, so up on the screen here, you'll see the program tuition and fees. Please note that this is approximate. So we do not have our exact fees and tuition out for students beginning in fall of 2024. And so this will give you a really good idea of what you can expect, but these aren't the exact rates. Additionally, I want to just inform you that the pre-service preparation program, right, that's a requirement that you need prior to applying for the impact program, is a completely different program with different tuition and fee rates. So again, check out that program webpage up on our website, or watch the info video. It's only like 12 minutes long. So I would highly encourage you to watch the pre-service program video to get more info about that. All right, some potential funding and grant opportunities. So fingers crossed, this grant will be available for preliminary teaching credential students starting the impact program in fall of 2024. We're not sure yet if it will be available, but for the past 3 years, there's this grant called the Golden State Teacher Grant that awards up to $20,000. So super amazing opportunity. Check out the website that we have up on the screen right now, but that will give you an overview of what the grant is, what the requirements are, and all of that. Okay, and last but not least is how to apply. So to apply for the impact program, you would need to go to our application portal and create your application. Assuming that you have already created your account, created your pre-service program application, you would likely already have an account, and you would log in and create your impact program application for fall of 2024. So that application will be available in mid-April and will be available until our late start deadline. We hope that this info video has been helpful and given you a good overview of the program. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Michelle, to me, to our admissions team. We are here to help. So thanks for watching.
We're looking forward to working with you.